For absolutely ruddy ages, for every great movie there's another one waiting in the wings to ape on its successes. For every Gremlins there is a Critters, for every E.T. there's a Pod People, and for every Batman Begins there's a Robin Hood. And yet, there are those films that really do not care. I'm Chris Hall, and today I bring you A Car's Life, Sparky's Big Adventure. A Car's Life was released in 2006 in a vain attempt to try and cash in on the successes of Disney Pixar's automated classic, Cars. And whilst the films I previously mentioned had enough content and originality to stand on their own, this film, from the design of the main character to the logo on the front of the box, it makes it perfectly clear that this is a cheap as buggery mockbuster in every foreseeable way. A Car's Life, as the box says, is inspired by a true father-son relationship. Sparky is a spunky little sports car who can't wait to grow up.
I don't need a dad who butts in like a backseat driver. I need to find my own road.
Which, of course, is Latin for annoying little turd, and his long-suffering father known simply as Daddy.
$100? This ticket is your fault, and you're paying for it.
Not the whole thing, I'll pay half.
Fine.
And that's really about as far as their relationship goes. One's an arse, one's a pussy, and that's pretty much the end of their character development. I mean, for a story that's about a child wanting to be like an adult, it goes through the usual kind of hoops and roundabouts that you'd expect it to do. But the strange thing is, this film promotes itself as being inspired by a true father-son relationship. However, that soon takes a sideline to the relationship between Sparky and Diesel, which is, well, curious to say the least.
Live dangerously or die trying.
Okay, a little bit of backstory. Diesel is the ex-fiancé of Sparky's father's uncle who died under mysterious circumstances, and as such is the court-appointed bad influence of the story. She tells Sparky to stay out late, go to the Badlands, get body mods. Though, of course, fair play, we needed some kind of dramatic intrigue to the story, we needed some kind of bad guy. Or is it just me, or is the way that Diesel talks to Sparky, does it sound a little bit weird to you?
Well, don't you look snazzy?
She sounds like a D-grade Tim Curry character, oozing every single line with this slimy, sensual sludge. Oh, Sparky! Oh, if you're not living to die, oh, then you're not living at all. Oh! Or whatever it is that she says. She has this very weird tone to her, which makes the entire relationship seem that little bit more unsettling. And what about that voice acting, ladies and gentlemen, from the illegible...
I hate limits. Especially speed limits.
to the downright ear-gratingly offensive. The voice acting varies from being just terrible to borderline on white noise. The worst offender of this being a little character known simply as Speedy, a character who is this awful automotive abomination.
Why? Don't I look okay?
She shrieks every single line, not changing her emotion, not changing her intonation. Every single line is shrieked, and oh my god, Sparky, we gotta get out of here! And she sounds so horrible, it won't leave my head. Much of what she says is just mindless, incomprehensible, stupid noise. Which, oddly enough, you could say much about the film itself. For a film that's 44 minutes long, it sure as hell does a lot of padding. Loads and loads of things happen, but very little of it seems to have any kind of meaning or any kind of purpose, though trying and make the film be extended and padded out to the full 44 minutes.
Uh-oh, it's getting late.
You know, the strange thing is, it's kind of like, and I never thought I'd ever use this analogy, in regards, this film, it is like the polar opposite of Waiting for Godot.
Oh, no, she didn't!
Of course, it may be unfair to compare this thing to one of the greatest pieces of modernist literature ever made, but still, Waiting for Godot is going to be with me to my very dying days. and this movie probably will too. Of course, illusions of Diesel's alleged paedophilia, that's just my horrible little corrupt mind going gaga from having to watch this film. Of course, that's purely speculative. It's not actually there. It's just me going slightly mad. But what is in this film, though, is the very, very real prospect of cannibalism!
I sold him for scrap. Society frowns on that kind of thing, but whatever.
Yes, it turns out that a simple story about a father-son relationship or a story about bad influences wasn't enough for the filmmakers. They had to add a subplot about cannibalism, because that's what children's films really need. Complete with a vehicular equivalent of Leatherface at no extra cost. Of course, this isn't the first time that the film has taken a right turn down Looney Lane. Earlier in the film, we had the body mod scene. And at least we forget this little nugget.
Child abuse.
And of course, that cult classic.
I wish I could be...
Sparky, stop. This is not a musical.
No, it's a gulag.
The overall writing of the film seems to hold its audience in some kind of form of contempt. I mean, having bad or ill-informed jokes is one thing, but with that supplemented with these wild moments of the pre-established nothingness going on, which are merely there to extend the film's running time, it creates this weird thing of having jokes and having moments have no sense or meaning, but being there because children love silly, colourful cars whizzing round going, whoa! And sure, some of the jokes may be offensive, but they'll just go over children's heads, and if that's the real rationale behind it, then why bother writing them in the first place?
Calm down!
Of course, we all know why. Because they just didn't care. I mean, hell, look at the visuals.
Whoa! Oh, this is gonna hurt!
The animation is just so bland and lifeless that were it not for the bad voice acting, the entire film would just fade off into ignominy and the characters just wander off into a very poorly rendered background. But instead we get that strange thing of the animation and the characters fighting against each other. All the cars look as if they're made of plastic, and whether they speak and open their mouths, their bodies stretch and convulse like this strange rubbery substance to try and force each of the words out. Which makes me believe that rather than designing and making their own car models, they must have used pre-existing ones and tried to animate them. Now, of course, had they made their own puppets, had they made their own 3D models rather, they probably wouldn't be that good, judging by the overall quality of the film. Though with that said, it would make the animation a little bit more rational. It wouldn't have looked so odd, and hell, it may have made it a little bit more tolerable.
I can't see! Help! Help! Oh no! Oh!
So, there we have it, A Car's Life, and the big question, can I recommend it? Well, yes, but not as a kids' movie. Regardless of the at times questionable humour, it provides the audience with very little substance that is genuinely entertaining or morally useful to the kids going forward in their lives. Things kind of wrap up at the end, and any green shoots there being a lesson learned are salted, as it happens so swift and occurs not because the lead attained some sense of wisdom or foresight, but because he was nearly eaten. Oh, and because the father said he shouldn't have been so hard. Yeah, the guy that thus far in the movie has been about as effective as a fart in a tornado. But, as a movie, which is so bad that it's good, I can recommend it because it's just so unbearably terrible. For all the problems that it has in terms of its morals and its production values, it sits quite happily amongst some of the worst films ever made. So if you are a bad movie fan, you're going to find a great deal of enjoyment from it. There's a great many things that I have not discussed or mentioned in this little review that take place in it. You'll find loads and loads of stupid, improbable things which will make you laugh, cry, and maybe help you love again. Of course, I've seen the film 4 times now, so maybe my mind has just finally given up on itself and abandoned all sense of reason and logic. So it's that, of course, I suppose. Well, that just about does it for A Car's Life. If you're interested in it, why not give it a look? It's not that good, but with that said, there's far, far worse out there. Believe me, there are. Well, with that said, I am going to go and see what's up with these Badlands and see if they really are as bad as people say. I don't know, I myself think they're a little bit misunderstood. Goodbye.